I found my grandmother's antique ring at a pawn shop for $75. The same ring my stepsister lost right after inheriting our family's jewelry. The delicate gold band caught my eye immediately. Bart nestled between costume jewelry and silver watches in the display case of a pawn shop 3 towns over from where I grew up. My breath caught in my throat. The 3-stone sapphire setting was unmistakable. This wasn't just any ring. It was my grandmother's engagement ring, the one she specifically left to me in her will. The ring I never received because my stepsister Vanessa claimed it had been lost during the move after Grandma passed. Can I see that ring? My voice trembled as the clerk slid open the case. The moment I held it, I knew the tiny engraving inside part E and J part T part my grandparents' initials. The slight imperfection in the center stone that Grandma always said gave it character, just like a real marriage. How much? I asked. $75, he replied. Got it last month. Lady said it was just old costume jewelry. I paid without hesitation, my mind racing. For 2 years, I'd listened to Vanessa's elaborate story about how she'd accidentally left the jewelry box on top of her car while packing and drove away. How devastated she was to lose my grandmother's precious heirlooms, how she'd searched everywhere but came up empty-handed. The same Vanessa who suddenly had enough money for a luxury vacation to Bali 3 weeks after Grandma's funeral. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I hired a private investigator who discovered Vanessa had visited 4 different pawn shops across the county within days of Grandma's funeral. The lost jewelry box hadn't been lost at all. Said she'd systematically sold off pieces of my family history for quick cash. The next Sunday dinner at my dad and stepmom's house, I wore the ring. Vanessa noticed it immediately, her face draining of color mid-conversation. Where did you get that? She whispered when she cornered me in the kitchen. Funny story, I replied loud enough for others to hear. I found Grandma's lost ring at a pawn shop for $75. The same ring you swore disappeared when you were moving her things. The room fell silent. My father stared at the ring, then at Vanessa. That's impossible, she stammered. It must be a replica. I slipped off the ring and showed the engraving. Is ENJ Hydri a common engraving on replicas, or the nick in the center stone that Grandma always pointed out? You don't understand, Vanessa hissed. I deserved that jewelry more than you did. I was the one who visited her every weekend. You visited her checkbook, not her, I replied. The Mai found receipts from 3 other pawn shops. How much did you get for the pearl necklace she wore at her wedding? Or the diamond earrings from her 50th anniversary? My stepmom started crying. My father looked physically ill. You need to give that back, Vanessa demanded legally. It belongs to me now. I laughed. Parnt actually laughed Parnt as I slipped the ring back on my finger. Actually, legally, it belongs to whoever has a receipt of purchase, which I do. I pulled out the folded paper from my purse, but I'd be happy to discuss this further with the family lawyer Part and explain how Grandma's lost jewelry mysteriously ended up scattered across pawn shops in the county. Vanessa left dinner early. My father later told me she confessed to selling everything and begged for family forgiveness. I've since found 2 more pieces of my grandmother's collection through online auction sites. Each time I wear her ring, I think about how some treasures find their way back to where they truly belong. Sometimes justice comes with a price tag. In this case, it was just $75.